Hello and welcome to another session at the month of Copilot, curated by the Copilot Connection. First of all, I'd like to thank Kevin and Zoe for this great opportunity and your trust in me to be able to conduct a few sessions about Copilot myself. And in today's episode, I will be talking about the possibilities of extending the Copilot for Microsoft 365 with the help of a Copilot Studio. And now let's take a look into the agenda. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself really quickly before going into the topic and explaining to you what Copilot Studio is. I will do that in a conceptual way. And I also have prepared a little demo for you where the Power Platform meets a Copilot. And in the end, after the demo, I will provide you also with some hands-on use cases that you can maybe leverage in your own organizations. Now, who am I? My name is Fabio Bonolo. I am a Microsoft 365 consultant and working in this industry since June 2020. At the moment, I work as a consultant, so I conduct workshops. I help building collaborations platforms across Microsoft 365. I also am a project manager and Scrum Master, and as well have some responsibilities in terms of Microsoft partner management. So therefore, I'm directly at the source. I do have my own blog about Copilot. You see my website below, fabiobonolo.com. And I am also conducting several sessions as a speaker. Last but not least, currently I am studying for a master's degree in business and IT consulting. Now, let's dive into the topic. What is Copilot Studio? So, Copilot Studio is the evolution of the Power Virtual Agents, offering you a similar user interface to create chatbots, but opening up many more possibilities to design your own AI solution. With Copilot Studio, you can not only create simple chatbots, but also build your own copilots or even large language models that cover, much more complex and specific scenarios. Additionally, the tool natively includes the extension of your M365 Copilot. And the main advantage of Copilot Studio is that you can integrate external data, such as data from your ERP or CRM system. However, to achieve this, there are several diverse and complex ways to do so in Copilot Studio. And as someone who never learned to write code and doesn't have a hefty corporate budget, I wanted to find out how I could do this without coding and without additional licensing costs. And that's what we are looking into today. So in order to achieve that, you can either extend the existing M365 Copilot or design your own Copilot from scratch. In both variants, you can enrich your Copilot with your own topics, questions, and actions to tailor it to your specific needs and requirements. And we'll look into that later on in the demo. And now I will provide you with the link. So you see here the link with which you can access directly Copilot Studio. You can write it right now in your browser. I give you some seconds. It is copilotstudio.microsoft.com. There you will find the user interface. Good. Now, with Microsoft, you have two ways to integrate your data in Copilot Studio. So I told you that the main advantage is that you can integrate external data. And for that, we are concentrating ourselves into the extensibility of the M365 Copilot. So I'm not talking about building my own Copilot. And with Microsoft Graph connectors, you can integrate external data sources directly into the Microsoft Search Index, which is then used by Copilot to make semantic queries with your prompts and present the results in a natural dialogue. You can configure various connectors through the admin center. So it is not a solution in Copilot Studio. So solutions for that are, for example, Salesforce, ServiceNow, SAP, Jira, and many more. Plugins, on the other hand, offer another technical way to integrate external data sources into Copilot. Here, the data is queried in real time directly from the business application. But of course, what has to be seen is that it is with the appropriate authentication, of course, into those external applications. And you have also the possibility to configure interactive elements with plugins, such as adaptive cards, for example, that can trigger certain actions. And it was precisely these plugins that helped me on my journey of a low code and no cost. But beware, there are some pitfalls because you can create and use three different types of plugins. So let's have a look at them. And here you can see the three choices that you have. With OpenAI plugins on the left, you'll get access to Azure OpenAI models and plugins. With Teams message extensions, you can execute hard-coded actions in third-party applications directly from within Microsoft Teams. And with Power Platform components, you can directly access Power Automate flows and connectors, for example, your own pre-built custom connectors. And now you can probably guess, you see it on the red arrow that I printed in. My path was a low-code approach through the Power Platform components, because Copilot Studio is closely connected to the Power Platform, especially because it was already a part of the Power Platform itself. It was the Power virtual agents, right? So, and if we now decide on this plugin variant, so for the Power Platform components, we need to be cautious because there are also in there two variants to get the Power Platform connections. So here we speaking about plugins. So when we are talking about Power Platform components or plugins, there are the conversational plugins and the AI plugins that can be built with the Power Platform components. And depending on what you select, it may incur additional licensing costs for you. So let's take a look at the AI plugins on the right-hand side. There are four methods to configure AI plugins. You'll see that in a few minutes in the demo. Either you need an AI Builder credits or a separate Copilot Studio license to activate these plugins. So you'll be faced with additional licensing costs. However, these AI plugins, they are functional and can also be used to build your own copilots. In contrast, the conversational plugins, they are still in preview. So therefore, they have some significant limitations, like you can't you have no authentication possible, you can't trigger actions or build adaptive cards, so it's only conversational, and it is limited to English speaking copilots only. This solution, however, is completely free. Respectively, it is included in the M365 Copilot license for $30 per month. And these conversational plugins are solely intended to extend the M365 Copilot and not to build your own Copilot. And in the next slide, I will show you a visualization of a cascading diagram that shows you the different paths to extend the M365 Copilot, because it is a little bit tricky. I myself had a lot of difficulties to understand the concept behind this. And when I worked into that topic, this cascading diagram that I will show you came to mind directly. Beware, this cascading diagram, this is only the path on how to extend your M365 Copilot. So there is no information about how you build your own Copilot, because this is a totally different topic. Without further ado, here is the cascading slide. So we start from the top left. When you want to extend your M365 Copilot, you can choose between Microsoft Graph connectors or plugins. In this session, we choose the plugins. So there are three different types of plugins: the OpenAI plugins, the Teams message extensions, and the Power Platform components. And since I mentioned in the beginning, I want to work with low code and no cost. And therefore, we choose the Power Platform components because it is low code. And there we use the conversational plugins, which don't activate additional licensing costs. But a lot of features, are still in preview and therefore not usable. Now, in this context, I already talked a lot about licensing costs and how it is built up, etc. And maybe it's a good idea to take a quick look into the current licensing setup. So you see here on the blue side, this is the Copilot Studio subscription that you can have for, it's a single license for your entire environment for $200 per month. And certain functionalities are integrated into the M365 Copilot licenses for $30 per user a month, which is on the right-hand side, the gray one. So I asked myself, what are the key differences and features? So in this term, I have identified three main differences. The first one, with Copilot Studio, you can build your own copilots, so with this license, but you cannot extend the M365 Copilot. And vice versa, with the M365 Copilot license, you can extend the M365 Copilot within Copilot Studio, but you cannot build your own copilots. The second one that I identified is that premium connectors of the Power Platform, and they usually need to be licensed. So when you want to build a flow or build a Power App and you use like premium connectors from SAP or Salesforce, you have to purchase a premium license for the Power Platform. But this is included. So if you want to enrich your M365 Copilot with premium connectors via Copilot Studio, it is integrated into the $30 per month, which you pay for the normal Copilot for Microsoft 365 license. And the same applies to a Dataverse. That's the third thing that I identified, because in a typical Power Platform environment, you need premium licenses for Dataverse. And in a Copilot Studio environment, a Dataverse database is already included for both scenarios. So that's that. However, when I look at this, I am a little bit concerned about the current licensing model because I fear a few changes, especially regarding the premium connectors, which are currently still available in the M365 Copilot, and they play a crucial role in this way of integrating, the external data into Copilot. But yeah, let's see what the future holds for us. I'm curious. Now, on to the next topic is, why do I choose to extend Copilot instead of building my own? In my opinion, the advantages, they exceed the current limitations because because of the preview. And yeah, why do I think that? Because as someone who doesn't code, I can avoid hard code. I do have with Dataverse already a database available in Copilot Studio. The whole extensibility or the way that I do it is based on known functionalities from the Power Platform, especially for or with Power Automate flows. And the premium connectors are included in the Copilot license. So the one disadvantage that we have here are the current limitations because they are in preview, but I think the advantages exceed this one thing because the preview, will end at some time. Now, let's go into the demo. But before we go into the demo, I quickly like to lose a few words about the Power Automate flows within Copilot Studio. Because my goal was to create a new card in a Trello board. So I wanted to extend Copilot that he interacts with Trello. My finding was the following. If I simply build a Power Automate flow within the Power Platform, I can't integrate it into the Copilot Studio plugin. I had to add an action directly from the Copilot Studio interface. So it looks like the same as a Power Virtual Agent interface. And in this Power Virtual Agent interface, I had to create an action from which I built my Power Automate flow. And that was the only way that I could publish this Power Automate flow specifically for this plugin only. So that means that the flow is triggered through the prompt that the user provides in his Copilot chat in Microsoft Teams. And now let's take a look into Copilot Studio. Since the Microsoft build, it had a cleanup, a major cleanup. So the user interface looks completely different. And right now, let me just switch my my view. So right now you should be able to see my Explorer, so the Copilot Studio interface. Now we see on the left pane we have the possibilities to create. We have the Copilots, we have the libraries. So here this interface is especially for building your own Copilot. But I want to create something else. So I don't want to create a new Copilot. I want to create a Microsoft Copilot action. So, and here we see those four possibilities, those four AI plugins that I talked to you before. So when I want to use a connector, this is the custom connectors from the Power Platform. Here I can write a prompt, for example, so I can do it in a natural language way. But here I will have to use AI Builder credits. And this is where I stumbled upon because first I chose, I want to build a flow, right? So I chose that one, and that's where I found out that I can build a Power Automate flow, but I can't integrate it into the plugin or into the action for this extensibility. So what I did, I chose the conversational plugin, which is this one. And now when I choose this, I can say my name, for example, Trello test. Yeah, I've got the standard solution from Dataverse. I create the extension. Now it takes some time here. And now we should see the Power Virtual Agent interface. So here we have the overview of this plugin. I can edit details and so on. And here at topics, I'll come to the Power Virtual Agent interface. So here already the trigger is pre-configured because the trigger, as I said, is a prompt within Microsoft Copilot. And this trigger I have to, I have to describe. So someone or the keywords, um, the plugin should be called when the user wants to create a new card in a existing Trello board. Okay. Now, here I can add the several possibilities, and here we have the preview limitations. So at the moment, the only thing that works are those generative answers. So instead of building actions or flows, I can build like a sort of chatbot, but I don't want to do that. So I want to call an action, and concretely, I want to call a Power Automate flow. So from here, I can tell him create a flow. Now I'll switch to Microsoft Power Automate. And you already see in the URL, I'm sorry, here it's in German. So I say I want to do an action, say Trello. So I've got here my connectors. I want to create a new card. Okay, let's say here I've got here I am already into Trello. So I already authenticated. I'm already signed into Trello. So it sees how this board is called, etc. I say like product backlog, card name. Yeah, these are the parameters that I built in. Well, I don't know exactly. Test, for example. So yeah, and now I have these parameters set. I can also extend here, like say here, it's a text, it's a prompt. Please create a Trello card. So that's the text, and here I can give an answer. Trello card created. Of course, I have here the functionalities from Power Platform, so I can do some dynamic content with Power FX. But I just don't go into that. And now I can say I want to save it, and I want to veröffentlichen. This is German for publish, and then now here I can publish this action or this Power Automate flow. Now I just want to show you why I had this finding. So I go back to the Copilot for Microsoft 365. You see here that the publish. And now I say that I want to add an action with a flow. So that was my finding. It opens me the Power Automate, Microsoft Power Automate as well, but here it's missing the publishing button. So I can build here an separate Power Automate flow, but I have no access or no possibility to integrate it into an existing plugin for the extensibility of Microsoft 365 Copilot. So that's why I use this conversational plugin. So I'll just leave, and that's how I built an extension without activating additional licensing costs or without using Pro code. Good. So let's go back to the presentation real quick, because now what's interesting is in which use cases you can use it, because it's so big. There are so many possibilities, and yeah, let's have a quick look into the use cases. Yeah, and to conclude this session, let's look at some use cases and what possibilities you have to extend your Copilot. The bold title marks the use case, and the text below that marks an example prompt that you type into the Microsoft Teams Copilot chat. So the first one on the bottom left is the possibility in Salesforce. So you could update a sales opportunity. The prompt would be update the deal stage of the opportunity XYZ to solution design. Another one is in Microsoft lists or SharePoint lists, because that's an important limitation you have to know about Copilot for Microsoft 365. It doesn't ground in SharePoint lists. So therefore, you could extend the Copilot with a connector to SharePoint lists, where you can manage the content, for example, and you can say add another entry like ABC with the metadata 123 to the SharePoint list XY. Another one is in ServiceNow, so you could change employee information directly from within Microsoft Teams, change the address of employee XY to street name, postal code, city, and then with the Power Automate flow that you created, it triggers the flow and it changes the address of this employee directly in ServiceNow. So that's the idea behind it. Also for Jira, for example, when you want to collaborate and have the ticket solving or issue solving with ticketing system in one, you can tell the Copilot in Teams he should list all your open tickets in Jira, or that he should change the status of a ticket to closed. And the last but not least, of course, it's just some examples. SAP that works as an ERP system. You can check stock levels, trigger also an ordering process. Below you see the prompts where you ask Copilot to check the stock of a specific product, or you can tell Copilot in Teams that he should order 50 new units of a specific product, where Copilot then triggers the flow in SAP to order this product. Yeah, now we reach the end of this session. Thank you for staying on. I hope that you have gained one or two takeaways when you are using Copilot Studio. I think it is really, really broad. It is a really great solution that Microsoft developed. And yeah, maybe this is something that you could use in your daily work. So thank you very much from my side. Don't forget to subscribe to the Copilot Connection. Here you have the information displayed. And yeah, again, thank you for listening and see you next time. Bye.